So when we talk about moving freight, we also have at the local level a very important need for truck traffic, and because basically the motto is, if you got it, a truck brought it when you get to your local level. So in California, we have some very difficult standards on the trucking industry there that CARB has a habit of passing a bill and waiting for the technology to catch up later. It mandated, I think, back in 1990 that 10% of cars sold would have to be zero emissions by the year 2000. Well, they had to back off from that because battery technology and car technology never caught up to a mandate by a whim of a state legislator. So we have that with the difficulty with diesel trucks in the state trying to catch up and being retrofitted with these devices that cost tens of thousands of dollars that in many cases were catching fire in these retrofits. So I don't know what the positive is there. I've had anecdotes where people talk to me where they have these devices fitted to some of their hay equipment and their squeezes they run up and down the road. They have to stop what they're doing every once in a while and run the vehicle from actually working, speed up and down the road in order to let the filter burn its way out and then go back to work. So this retrofitting doesn't always fit the program. It's when, and Caterpillar actually pulled out of California from supplying diesel engines. Can you imagine? Every guy, every cafe you go into, somebody's wearing a cap that says Cat Diesel Power, and then being out of the diesel business in California for a time. So this is what happens when you make mandates. So I'd like to hear from Mr. Lyon here. What we're talking about is allowing technology, allowing the market to work. And if we allow that to happen, things like eliminating the excise tax on heavy trucks, allowing more of these newer trucks to be sold instead of trying to retrofit by the force of mandate, what would that look like for the market? What would that look like to improving the fleet?
It's a great question. I wish I had the data at my fingertips to give you a really good answer on that, and I would be happy to respond in more detail with a
Well, what we have is the federal excise tax in relation to the amount of dollars it generates to help infrastructure is pretty small, but you have a pent-up market there, especially driven by mandate, or truckers that can afford it that are not just mom and pop, but, you know, $120,000, $130,000 trucks. The FET adds, you know, 10, 15,000, 20,000 to the price of that. Do you think that'd be a great incentive to move more new vehicles? By
like I said, I don't really know the details of the tax structure there in California.
What's national, the FET on that? So
I don't know. I mean, it does seem like to me that trucks cause a disproportionate amount of wear and tear on roads, and so it may be perfectly reasonable to tax them at a higher VMT rate than lightweight vehicles. But that's not to say that
well, they're paying a lot more weight fee than everybody else too, so they carry their share on that and generally end up with more of the bill. So, well, thank you, Madam Chairman. I yield back.